Everyone, this is JJ Humphrey. I'm with Bobby Cleveland. We've got a special guest today, Connie and Leonard. Leonard is running for the mayor of Edmond, so that's Leonard Scott. Remember Leonard Scott. Hey, I also want to tell y'all you can always join me on JJ number 4. Okay, JJ, I almost forgot, golly. JJ number 4 OK.com. And you can always catch what me and Bob are doing on Elephant in the Room. Also, we do OCP, which is a prison broadcast. We talk about what's going on with prisons. We're trying to start a new cartoon, Capital Exposed. So we've got all kinds of things. You go on there, check out what we're doing to try to get Anthony Fauci arrested on COVID. We've got a great plan. I've already submitted a probable cause with a huge brief and with some case law or cases that they can use, they can actually right now. So call your AG Drummond, tell him if he wants to be governor, how about taking care of Oklahomans, and how about protecting kids on DHS that were being molested and tortured. So give him a call and say, do your dang job if you want to be governor. So today we're talking about mayor of Edmond. So Leonard, give us a little bit about your background, kind of who you are and what qualifies you to be mayor.
Well, the truth is, I kind of explained it before, but I've been fighting the city hall. When they came in, the DEI woke bunch came in 4 years ago, same time that Biden went in. And it was exactly the same thing that happened. The government became overnight, they became a woke DEI government, and they would not speak to the citizens anymore. They quit talking to us. They took away our rights. We can't even recall them. So that was that's number 5 of the First Amendment. We have the right, of course, we have the right to explain our grievances. We have a right to do that. But they took that away, and so we couldn't recall anybody. So they stayed hidden, and I kept fighting them. And so I started to run for office to make sure we've got a new election coming up. I ran to make sure, with all these little things I get to go to, explain the inconvenient truth about the Edmond City government, because they have taken all of our rights away as citizens of this community.
Well, Leonard, I'm down here in God's country, southeastern Oklahoma. But I've always thought that Edmond, and I've got some kinfolk that live in Edmond, and I've always seen Edmond as kind of the really conservative type community. I always thought they were more kind of big money and more conservative type community. So you're telling me that the whole communities went woke, or just some parts of its government?
Brother, here's the problem. Most people do not even think about the city government in Edmond. That's the bottom line. When you go to a city hall meeting, you might have 10, 15 people in there.
Right.
So, and you've got the university here that's pumping out education kids. That's all woke DEI. So you got the education part. Central State, Central University now, they were teaching that stuff. So people just don't get involved in government.
Right. Well, that's kind of the same way with our government here in Oklahoma. If you look at every county, we voted red. But if you look at our policies, they're kind of blue policies. We're one of the most regulated states there are. And so I really can kind of associate with what you're talking about, because when I'm up there and we're trying to get a bill to stop drag queens, you would think in Oklahoma that would be no problem. You would think in Oklahoma, like down there where Bob is, that OU cap he's got, that they wouldn't let pay a drag queen $18,000 a day to perform. It just blows your mind. But that's a society we live in. But it is a good day when we see Donald Trump signing the bill into effect, saying that guys are in guys sports and women's in women's.
Well, it's so bad at Edmond that even our education, our superintendent of schools was woke DEI, and they started adding those pronouns and all of that stuff in our schools. The mayor when he took over, his first proclamation was the LGBTQ community, and he went full up gay rights stuff when his first proclamation, and that started it all.
Well, I want to know how they took your rights away. Why you can't?
Okay, what happens is in your First Amendment, Part 5 of that is that we have the right to redress of a grievance. Well, what they did is they went into our city charter and changed the requirements for a recall, and they made the requirements impossible for any citizens to recall anybody. That's how they did it, brother.
Well, they had to do it out public. No one said anything about it?
Well, the thing is, nobody knew anything about it. And as I said before, nobody cared because nobody understood what that meant until now, to the nut cutting started happening. And then they realized it, and it was too late. 4 years, this government, we were in debt in 2020 for $220 million. Today, in 4 years, 5 years now, we are $1 billion in debt in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Where did that debt come from? Well, I mean, what did they spend their money on?
Brother, they went out and built we call it a government worship center, which is a huge building downtown Edmond. They went in and started a new YMCA.
Third YMCA.
We've got 2 already, and they want to build that. They built the next one was
Library.
a library, and then they've got parking garages going in, and none of it makes money for them. None of it.
But that was a bond that they had that people voted on.
Nope, sir, they didn't. As a matter of fact, the council, that's my point. The council members voted on it. The people they didn't give any consent or knowledge of it. They just approved it, and it was done.
Well, they're a bunch of communists.
Yes, sir. That's my point.
Well, let me ask you this. Did they take the treasurer position? One of the things that I'd heard, they had taken the treasurer's position and put it, and the city council did this. I don't think it came to a vote of the people.
Nope. That one it did. That one did. It was in 1998, they changed. That was the big year. That's when the bureaucrats started taking over all governments, by the way. 1998. Write that down, and everybody can check it. What they did was they came in and they changed the charter and changed it. So the city treasurer was an elected position. So the people had a treasurer who was taking care of the people. They changed that. They put the city treasurer, not elected position, put him under the city manager. City managers run the budget.
But to change the city charter, they have to have a vote. It's not more of a vote than just the people. It's just them. That's the vote of the people.
And they did the city charter. That one they did change. They had about 15 things that they changed, and that was one of them. And nobody read it. Nobody knew it.
Well, that's y'all's fault.
That's exactly what happened to us.
But here's what it looks like to me is that you've got a treasurer who answers to the council and not to the people.
That's
not
right.
even to
Not
the
even.
council.
No. Here's you're missing the point. He's not talking to the council because they're elected officials. No, they're talking to the city manager, an unelected bureaucrat, brother, is running the show.
But now Bob is right. Hey, somebody write down something. Hey, let me get a piece of paper and mark it down. Bob is right that it wasn't a vote of the people.
Right,
Yeah.
but
So again, the
sneaky
people are going to have to
little-
wake up, and that's why we're having you on here today, Leonard. Is because I really feel like last week we had a school board election on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what's happening is we're losing, especially our large communities, to the wokeness, to the Democrat. We're red state, but again, what we need to do is the people there in Edmond who are listening, and the people around the state who's listening. It's time to get involved in city politics.
Amen.
To get involved in your school board elections, in your
Yes.
city council elections, in your mayor elections, because again, that's the ones who set the policy. And just like on that school board election that we talked about last week, which Bob, can I get a witness? That lady knew her stuff.
Yes,
No,
she does. She's top
did.
notch.
she's unbelievable. We need her. But here's where I'm at. Oklahoma City so impacts us as a state. Because if we take Oklahoma City and Tulsa out of the equation, we drop down to
Top 10. Well,
There
it's
was a-
frozen. You're
Oh.
frozen.
Okay, while he's prefacing, let me just say this. We have a school board election also with a mayoral election for District 5. We want Mr. Putman, all you Edmondites out there, vote for Mr. Putman if you're in District 5 of the school board when you go in to vote on Tuesday.
Because you have to understand that the superintendent of schools is an unelected bureaucrat running the schools in Edmond. You got to understand that. Unelected bureaucrat. She
Well, that's
doesn't
what
have
all
to
of
report
them
to
are.
anybody.
And let me tell you what she
All of them are
did.
appointed by the school board.
What our school board did is they elected to give all of their power over to her to not fight anything, not address anything, to let her have total control of everything. That's our elected officials. That's how woke Edmond is.
what happened to me?
I don't know, brother.
I'm glad to see you back.
You lost a lot of weight in about 3 seconds.
Bob, I want to see if you think this. I never quit talking during the whole time I was off right there.
I wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
I love to talk to myself. I like to talk to myself, Bob. That's how I have intelligent conversation. You know what?
But did you hear that the Edmond Public Schools is run by an unelected bureaucrat, okay? And
Right.
our city government in Edmond, our city government is run by an unelected bureaucrat running the city government.
But, sir, it's y'all's fault. It's the people's fault for not being active and doing anything.
You
And
are correct.
you can't do this, get active after it's all said and done. They should have never did this to start with.
Let me tell you how bad it is. Let me explain it to you. Anything that goes on in a government has to be on an agenda, right? It has to be on a city agenda. Well, guess who? The only person who's allowed to put anything on the agenda in Edmond is the unelected bureaucrat city manager.
You know what you do with him?
Well, he's gone now.
We just
We did it. We
just
got
did
it. We hammered him and hammered him and hammered him. And finally, he's out.
Yep.
Well, that's the way you get her done.
That's
And
how you get her done.
Again, that's why I wanted to have you on here talking about how to get involved, because that's what we want people to be hearing. Is we've got a bunch of these elections going on right now. Norman's got a Bears race down there, Bob. You're in Moore though, ain't you, Bob?
Yes.
You can't vote for Norman. But one of those looks really, really woke. One of those candidates to me.
Ooh.
They've got
The guy running for mayor is.
Yeah, they've got another guy that
Heikler's not.
No, Heikel is.
no, he's a former veteran.
Mhm.
There we was talking about before. What kind of background do you got? You tell us a little bit about your military background.
Me, I started off at 16 years old, joining the Oklahoma National Guard in Minco. They needed people. I went in there and signed up, and because my dad had been in Oklahoma in that unit, so I joined up. And they couldn't deploy me, of course, and for war. I would stay in the armory, but I finally made it. I went through rank. I got to be a sergeant. Then they sent me to OCS. I was good at OCS, and then I decided, well, I was married, had a baby. I went regular army and went infantry, and they sent me straight to Vietnam. So when I went to Vietnam, I got shot up a little bit, but I got a Silver Star, Purple Heart, and all the awards and decorations you're supposed to get for being a good guy, and came back, and I stayed in the Army, brother. So I've been in the Army since, I guess, at 21 when I got back from Vietnam, and I've been in all the airborne units, Ranger units, did like I was supposed to do, and ended up.
Did you graduate from high school?
But yeah, I graduated at Minco High School, yes. But then when I got back from Vietnam, they sent me to college. And my family, local folks, all lived around Edmond, or this area. So I chose Central State at that time. So I got my degree at Central State.
That's good.
That's almost as good as East Central, I've heard. Pretty close.
Talk a little bit about your medals you won.
Well, I don't like really talking about that stuff because when I got hit, I got my Silver Star. We were fighting up in Cambodia at that time. And I don't remember a hell of a lot of it. I know I got hit by an RPG, kind of blew myself away. But I got up. And they said I did a lot of stuff that I didn't remember doing. To tell you the truth, we saved some people. We got
I've done that
helicopters.
before.
Beg pardon?
I said, I've done that before, and I didn't
You
even
know how
get
that
it.
feels. Yep. But anyway, so I had all the right medals, and that got me way up in the chain of command that they respect that. And I hadn't got the chance to go to the Army War College in Pennsylvania, and so that was a big deal for me. Be able to do that for a National Guard primer. Everybody from West Point that goes there, but I got a chance to do it as a National Guard guy from OCS, and I got to go to the Army War College. That was a big deal.
Wow.
That is a big deal. You got a heck of a background right there. Well, let me ask you this. Does it look like, it sounds like there's a lot of money going into special projects. And does it look like there's anybody, because that's the stuff I'm trying to work on now. Where's all the money going? Who's getting the money? Is it somebody's brother-in-law, somebody's second cousin's got a contract? Is there any of that appears like going on in any
Brother, it's all about developers. Edmond, you see, when you're in debt, you've got to make tax money. And what they do is developers get in there, they build homes, they get the taxes from the homes, you see. So they're all for the developers and the big boys, because that's how they can get money to pay off their debt. It's the only way I can figure it out. They're trying to grow Edmond, when Edmond right now, they're broke. We've got bad roads, horrible roads. They can't even get to the schools at. When school's out, you've got a line of cars a mile long to pick up kids, and a mile before that. It's dangerous. It's not good, but there's no priorities here. They have never set priorities.
Let me say a few things about that. We had one TIF district in Edmond with our prior council members. We had a developer on there, and we had a real estate agent on there. They were both sitting in on all the meetings, voting on all kinds of stuff. And it turns out that we couldn't make the connections with that developer, but with that real estate agent, we had a lady in our community who became a private investigator and investigated him and made connections with over 100 different LLCs in Edmond. This guy was in the TIF district. He had his daughter-in-law and son selling houses, and all kinds of shady stuff is going on. He was in there sitting in and voting on stuff he should not have been, until this person did that investigation, turned everything into the state. Then all of a sudden he quit. He started stepping out during the voting, and nothing came of that investigation. Nothing happened to him. And then we, the taxpayers, ended up paying for all of the landscaping at that development.
Yeah, it was really weird. There's 100,000, I'm not 100,000, but a lot of money was spent on landscaping for these townhomes. Well, guess what? We, the people, paid for it. How did that happen, brother?
Well, I know this year we voted on a tax, or have we voted on this tax yet? I can't remember. It may be going to come up on the next election. No. It was on this election. It got voted down. But that tax would allow just what we're talking about. It allowed cities to go out and tax areas. And so, like, if I own a piece of property, mm-hmm. and I want it developed, we can put that in there. We can go in and get the city's tax. We go in and develop it, build roads, build pools, build whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to be able to build houses on that and sell the houses, which guess what, are going to be twice as high, because now we have roads, all that kind of stuff that I'm letting the city develop for me on my own property.
I think that's called the TIF, tax incentive.
Right.
Let me tell you about that. What they did here in Edmond is they call the blighted areas. This is where the most affordable housing is in Edmond. And they are destroying the houses there and putting in apartment complexes on like 40, 50 feet from the railroads.
But here's the thing, though.
And then let me finish.
Yeah.
And then they build this LART thing that they built, that project that developer and the real estate guy got in. Those are $500,000 homes, and they're destroying the most affordable housing to put those $500,000 homes. And then the mayor went and stood in front of the $500,000 homes talking about, oh, Edmond needs some more affordable housing. We have $500,000 homes. Our people can't afford to come and live in Edmond because of this. He's the one that freaking built that place.
Okay, but here's the thing that bothered me. They go in there and do that with that TIF. They put those big houses in there. What does that do to all the properties around there? Their tax rates go up. Their property taxes go up. And brother, those are elders on fixed income that now have to pay more taxes, and it should never happen like that.
So when we talk about TIF, explain TIF to our listeners. Not everybody understands what a TIF is.
Well, I can't do, but I can tell you it's a tax
incentive.
And I think it's the program, TIF.
Financing.
What they're going to do, it's kind of like subsidizing, the way I'd explain.
Yes, it is.
Let's see if old Humphrey can kind of, I like to dumb her down to my style. If I can understand it, about anybody can understand it. But if we were going to build a, say, windmill project, them are all mighty popular around right now. Mm-hmm. So we're going to build a windmill project. What we're going to go in and we're going to start this TIF, and what we're going to do is our community is going to provide so much incentive. We're either going to say, hey, we're going to add to, or we're not going to charge you. Quite often, that'll be the way it is. We're not going to charge you a tax for the next 5 years.
That's right.
We're going to let you come in because you're going to bring jobs and bring things to community. Now, again, I think any negotiation can be a smart negotiation. And if I do have a company that can come in and produce 1,000 jobs, and that they're going to bring a lot of wealth to our community, and I don't have a problem having a conversation. Right. TIFs actually started, in my opinion, just like everything else.
Yes.
They probably start for a good reason.
Yep.
Then what they get is what I call the government bastardization.
That's it.
Bastardizing. And they take something like what we're talking about, use it for some developer who's going to bring, some construction jobs, but not big money. And they're using it for their own gain.
Yes.
So that they can come in and they can build and do things tax-free or reduce price. And then we're going to turn around and see, like what we're talking about, middle-class housing sucked out.
Yep.
And again, a lot of people don't understand your profit margin for a middle-class housing is slim. So when you've got government housing, the government pays those contractors quite a bit. When you got high range housing, housing.
JJ, take a breath a second. Take a breath a second. Where I'd like to say something, if you don't mind.
Hey, Bob, let me finish explain. Let me explain. Go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead. You go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Hey, you knocked me right out of the saddle, Bob. But let me trying to climb back in. Go ahead.
Well, my question is do you have a lot of people in the town that's upset about this?
Yes.
Yes.
Because have you had people all along upset and then nobody said anything?
Nobody knew anything about it until you start getting your property taxes start going up. Because once you put in an establishment like that, everything around it goes up. And guess who lives around them? Older folks in small homes. And all of a sudden, their property taxes start going up. Now, I understand they can only raise your property taxes 3% a year. 3% a year. But if you check how much your property is worth, you're going to see it's oh my gosh, it's 15% higher. But they're only going to charge you 3%. Then it's going to be 3%. Then it's going to be 3%. So, brother, they're forcing the elders out.
Well, I mean, total, you got to have more people than just the group you're talking about. Is the town itself, because what happens is they're making all these decisions, and you guys have been in Edmond. I don't mean to be critical, but y'all been set back on your butts and letting them do this. You hadn't had enough people at that meeting to make a difference.
That was the original point. When they first asked me what's going on in Edmond, the problem is nobody knows what's going on in the government. Nobody goes to the council meetings. Connie and I went to all the council meetings. We attended and we argued and said, this is going on. They ignored us, brother, because there's no help from nobody else came with us. So it looked like it was just 2 or 3 people arguing.
Let me say something about that. Let me speak to that. I talk to a lot of people in the community, and there are a lot of people in the community that understand the way our Edmond local government works. If you speak up, you can expect to have problems in your business. You can expect to have inspectors at your business finding things wrong, finding you, running up charges, running you out of town. We've had people ran out of town. We have had businesses that have been forced to close down, to move because of this city government, because of somebody either speaking out or they're related to somebody who has spoken out. That's why people in Edmond are afraid to do and say things, because they have lives to live, they have businesses to run, and they are afraid of what is going to happen to them, what canceling or what slander will occur. That's just the way it is in Edmond with this woke regime in power. It didn't used to be that way, but it's that way now.
And me add to that now is because what about the education? When that woke DEI superintendent came in, by the unelected bureaucrats started that stuff, do you think a bunch of Edmond people pulled their kids out of school? No, they didn't. They let it happen. So this is in our schools and our government. The people are not involved.
Well, that's why you're running, though, ain't it?
That's why I ran, brother. It's because I was telling, I got up to the inconvenient truth. I ran to tell them what was going on. A lot of people don't want to hear it. I'm not going to be winning the mayor's deal because they got the big boys involved. That's okay. But at least I had at least 5 events where there were people there, and I got to tell them the inconvenient truth about the government.
I'm getting a lot of people from Edmond talk to me. So I mean, what you're saying, I think most, or a lot. I don't want to act like, man, I'm up there and moving, shaking in Edmond, but I mean, Connie knows this. We end up going through a lot of the same things, whether it be the COVID deal or whether it be, the DHS issue that I've been working on. And there are a lot of people from that area right there that come to our meetings, and really are big grassroots people. It sounds like the grassroots people are definitely picking up the mantle of what you're talking about. I agree with Bob. What happens is that the communities just, the people have just gotten so busy. They've gotten to where they don't think their voice matters. Yeah. I'm hoping that we see that Trump brings, I think he has. I mean, I don't know if y'all were paying attention the other day. I was watching a deal on the military recruitment. They said is at a 15-year high right now.
It could be. Yep.
And so, again, what you're seeing is people having confidence restored. Some of these young kids are not afraid. I talked one of my kids out of getting in when Biden come in. And, in fact, my youngest is fixing to join. He's fixing to sign Monday to go in. Yeah. And I was like, hey, no problem. But I didn't, they were going to force take vaccines and all that before. And I talked to my middle kid. He had already signed up. Dad, they ain't going to make you take the vaccine.
Here's the other thing you got to understand. Trump, remember, he gives a lot of money to education. So Edmond Public Schools gets federal funds. Well, he said no DEI or no funds. Same thing with city government. They bring in a lot of money to the government. And he said no woke DEI. So there's going to be a major change because of our leader, Donald J. Trump, is saving us right now.
Oh, I agree. I don't know if y'all are paying attention. Did you look at that deal, Bob? Did you watch that the other day out in front of the Department of Education?
Oh yeah.
Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
Oh, golly.
Oh, it was great.
They shut them out. They closed the Department of Education for a day there. And they had a person, I guess he works for security.
Yep.
He was standing outside the door, just a plainclothes dressed guy. And he wouldn't let them in. And Maxine Waters and a bunch of
my gosh.
Y'all look at him. Get a good. She's like, look up. Let everybody see the card. Because you're taking us back to the days when they locked the schools up in the civil rights deal and all this. Oh, she was blowing it up huge. But I never did find out why they shut that down for a day or two. Did y'all hear why they did that?
Well, remember, Trump put in his new leader, and her job is to get rid of the education department in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
That's her job.
Well, I can tell you what, he had them stirred up. I mean, they was walking, they was bronky the other day. I guarantee you they were bronky, and they were very, very upset. But yes, I hope they do come into all of these communities.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, Governor Stitt signed a resolution. I know that because me and Shane Jett actually filed it first. Maybe Rob Standridge. I can't remember if Rob was on there or not. But we signed a declaration, a resolution that no school would get funding if they had DEI. And
That's right.
boy, they went after us like gangbusters. You know, got the Pope or something. And then as soon as they killed us, old Stitt got it and he put it in. And man, they is all. How does that work? Why does when I touch something, everybody gets mad as hell and screams and hollers, and then somebody else can do the same thing? Oh, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
This is great. This is good stuff. Why is that, Bob?
JJ, that's a big question you're asking there.
I don't understand. I guess I have the ability just to make people mad.
Education.
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think that you have that ability to make people mad. I guess maybe they had enough. You guys tried it, and then the governor's got just a little bit more pull than you do.
Okay.
Yeah, but the governor's got a little bigger bully pulpit than what I do.
Well, guys, just think about this now. Ryan Balters, our Secretary of Education, is going to get what was that money that went to Washington, D.C. at that building goes to him now. So he has the power, he has the strength, and he has the money to give the schools. I think woke DEI is gone.
Ranger, easy, because you'll have them all stirred up when you start telling them that.
I'm used to it, brother.
They've
I'm
been
used
losing
to
their
it.
mind. Anybody, hey, y'all calm down out there. It's not that bad. Ryan's a good dude. Ryan's a good guy. You'll do all right with that money.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you'll have them, burning their hair.
Brother, I got a helmet for that, okay? I take it all the time. I'm ready for them.
You might loan that to old Ryan. He might need that helmet right there. I got a good cowboy hat.
Yeah, you got yours.
I got mine covered. You know what I'm saying? I got it covered. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
How many people do you have show up at a board meeting, city council?
At our city council, we had
Man.
now very few people. When it got to citizen comments, what the government did was they put us last, so we didn't even get to speak until about 9-10 o'clock at night. And there's only at the most 1 or 2 people showed up for citizen comments. 1 or 2. And it was
That's not the way it works in
Connie.
Norman. I can tell you that right now. They have a whole house full of them.
Yep.
Oh, they do. And let me say something about you. You guys were talking about how Trump is, and everything that he's doing. What he's doing right now is he is empowering us. He is opening up the pathway for us to do what needs to be done. He can't do it. He's there in DC. We are here in our backyards. We have had our hands tied with this last administration, but those binds are loosened. So we need to get to work and get busy while we can.
That's
I
right.
think you're making a change. Everybody will get more active in it now and realize it's their government.
That's right. It's our
They have a
our
right to
government
speak.
of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's
Right.
what it is.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you something. So I stay with Bob a whole bunch when I'm around. When I'm up at the Capitol, I'm staying with Bob. So I've got to know, and I live down there by him. Used to, we lived pretty close together down there, but we were in closer to Norman, and so I've gotten to know quite a bit about Norman, quite a bit about Moore over the last 9 or 10 years. Something I am impressed with, and it may just be by knowing Bob. I know all of them. But guess what, man? They got Republican stuff going on all the time. They got the women's Republicans. They got the Helen Cole Club. They've got some other group I got asked to go talk
Cleveland
to.
County Republican Women's Club.
Freedom. Yes, that was a group I got asked to go. Then they
Yeah.
canceled me. They gave me the boot because they had an election going.
Well, here's what you guys need to do. I'm going to give you what you need to do. You need to get JJ to come up there to one of your meetings
We do.
before your city council meeting and talk to these folks.
It would be great if he'd come because it's so obvious.
All
Okay.
you have to do is ask him. He'll come. Isn't that right, JJ?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is, if you start, what's that group of Spalding does?
What's he saying? I didn't hear you. I didn't hear the question.
I was asking Bob. There's a group they meet every third Tuesday, I think.
Spalding group you talking about?
Yeah.
Dave Spalding group. They meet once a month and have different speakers. But they have I think they have something like that in Edmond. They used to anyway.
We don't have any.
Oh, wait, let me tell you, we have various groups. We have the Lions Den. We have Oklahoma County 2A. We have various groups, but the problem is they won't give us a voice. That's the problem.
Okay, 2A won't?
Around here, they haven't. In Edmond, in Oklahoma County, they do stuff over there, but they're not here in Edmond. They're in like Oklahoma County or over in Logan County.
But that's what you got to do. You got to start your own group. You get you about 10, 15, 20 people gathered around. And the next thing you know, then we're saying, hey, y'all come in, get pretty active.
Well, we did. We used to have people, but through everything that's happened in Edmond, like I said, you will get canceled, you will get slandered, you will get talked about, you will get commented at and about. And people just, well, I'm sorry, I can't come. I have to do this and I have to do that. It's dirty here in Edmond.
It's really dirty.
Well, people got to quit worrying about what.
That's
Lord,
right.
Man, I guarantee you ought to see what I made all the mental health group mad last week. Boy, mad. And let me tell you something. Mental health people, you don't hardly hear from them, but boy, when they get mad, when you rattle that tree, get ready, boy, she'll shake out. And I got cussed, discussed. Now that they know what I was doing, most of them are like, "Hey, JJ, yep, he was with us all the time, So you can't really worry about what people say, and you can't worry about what they're going to do.
That's what I try to convince them of. If everybody that was worried about somebody saying something or doing something, if all of those people would just come out with the truth about how they feel and what they think, they would see that we could have our government, but everybody's afraid. It hasn't hit hard enough yet.
You sit around and you wonder how in the world can we sit back and let men play in women's sports?
Yeah. Oh, brother.
The Olympics. How did that ever happen? How in the world did that ever happen? I'll tell you how it happened. Everybody sat on their butt.
Yep.
Was scared they was going to offend somebody if they called it out. You're scared that somebody's going to get mad at them. And again, because they were scared, now Donald Trump comes out, and now everybody's like, oh, it's the right thing to do to call it out. Now everybody going to jump on that wagon because now it's okay. They didn't want to stand up and call it out when it wasn't okay. I'm kind of on that deal, that old song, I was country when country wasn't cool. I was anti-DEI when it wasn't. I am anti alphabet mafia, the LGBTQRSDVY, whatever it is. I'm anti all the way on all that. And again, that don't mean that I if you're gay, that's your business. But I don't go out and put my business on the street. Don't go out and put your business on the street. Right. And if you do, then I'm going to talk about it because it's out there on the street. And I won't be kind when I do talk about it. If that makes you mad.
Well, here in Edmond, we had a problem that the new mayor was an African-American gentleman who had been on city council for 10 years. Nobody knew that he was a woke DEI until he became mayor, and his first proclamation was the DEI proclamation. It was all woke DEI stuff, and everybody just went, "Oh, okay. Well, we can't do anything about that because he's a new mayor."
Well, that's in the past. That's what happened in the past. We didn't look at what we're doing in the forward. But I'm telling you right now, JJ, you ought to go to one of those board meetings up there. See what's going on.
I might show up. I'm always very interested in what's happening around the state and especially in local government. Because I believe I'm doing a lot of stuff trying to take state money and put it back local.
Yes.
Yep.
Supposed to be what we're Republicans about is going, local government and encouraging local government. Now, sometimes I scratch my head. Norman's done some things down there. I like to call them, the People's Republic of Norman down there. Oftentimes, they've done some things that I scratch my head on. Wow, when it comes to the DEI and the new social stuff. But I really just shocked to hear this, that Norman, because I always had an image in my head of Norman being really, really the conservative part, that I would have thought they'd been much more conservative and, one of the more conservative spots in Oklahoma.
Well, here's the thing. It's the other thing we haven't talked about is the media, the press. The Edmond press did not cover this. They did not bring it up. They did not tell the people what was going on. So we lost our Edmond Sun, or normal paper. So we've got two smaller papers, and we've got all of the online papers.
Yeah.
None of them cared about or told the people what was going on in city government. And that, when the press is not on your side, you're barking up a real hard tree to climb, brother.
Yeah, I usually have pretty good, press generally is pretty good to me. I mean, they may make me look stupid, but at least I get on there. You know what I'm saying?
But we didn't get anything, nothing.
But I would tell you, like when we did that COVID deal, we got a big deal going on. We're miles ahead of anybody in the United States on arresting Anthony Fauci. We've got the stuff on the AG's office. I mean, it's on his desk. And nobody has reported that. We don't see any reporting.
No, you won't.
I mean,
part of it.
But we're seeing that changed again. I think you're going to see Elon Musk, what he's done.
Yeah.
Elon Musk with taking X and what was that, Twitter before, and changing it to X and putting out all the documents that show just how that they had been taken over by government. Again, that's why we see Facebook. That's why we see Bezos and all of them now. Oh, we're going to end all this government overreach and censorship.
Right.
Amazing how they jump on board when it's popular to jump on board, But
Well,
I think you'll see a change in that.
We need a conservative paper in Edmond, Oklahoma right now so bad. And that way we can get the truth out, because right now we don't have a press or media in Edmond, Oklahoma that is the conservative, that are out for the people of our town. That's exactly what's happened to us, brother.
You know what? I was just sitting here looking at Bob. You know what Bob looks like to me? Bob looks like he would make a good editor. Bob, you need something new. You know what I'm saying? You need something new. You ever thought about running a paper in Edmond?
No, I haven't ever thought about that. But you know what? They can do a blog. They could start a blog. There was enough interest in that.
I don't know. This computer right here, what Connie set up, it is nothing but wires and a screen. I have no idea how to do that. Somebody needs to do it.
Set it up. She knows how to do it.
No.
No, we're talking about a good blog, but no, we don't have that here in Edmond right now. We need it.
I'm
doing good to set this up. I am not a tech person.
I volunteered to be an investigative reporter. That's what I want to be.
That's perfect.
I
You
love
be
to
an
do
investigative reporter. You come to Edmond and go to one council meeting. You're going to walk out shaking your head and you're going to say, "What the hell's going on here? This is not a government of the people."
That's what I'm live. I'm live on the scene. What in the hell is going on?
That's
right.
Here's an example. Everything else, when you go to council meeting, you have the what's it called? Robert Rules of Order. But when systems go up for system comments, that's out the window. No Robert Rules of Order. We've got equipment, audiovisual equipment, that we're not allowed to use, but everybody else can use it.
All the contractors, all the developers.
But when we go up there, we're limited.
Meetings have to be run by Robert's Rules of Order.
They get to pick and choose which Robert's rules are used and when they're applied.
But not during citizen comments.
What you'd have to do is get familiar with the Robert's Rules of Order and then interrupt them if they're not following.
I have done. I've used Robert's Rules of Order, and that's when they came out with their new edicts. Oh, these are the specific rules from Robert's Rules of Order that can be used, and these are the people who can use them. That's it.
Not the citizens.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We've got a deal called the Open Records Act.
Right.
Yep.
I've been 1 year, and Bob is my witness. I've been 1 year needling the Department of Corrections. Hey, can I have this? JJ, we already told
We've
you
been doing that
have
too.
this and all that. I spent a year, and guess what? I spent all day yesterday writing up a lawsuit so I can give it to some lawyers. Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Well, you know what
Yes.
the penalty is if you violate the Open Records Act if they don't respond to you?
6
Six-
months in county, I think. Six
Oh, let me
months
tell-
year in county, 6 months, something like
Let
that.
me tell you about, you're talking about lawsuits. Well, we have been all over town, and we have been into Oklahoma City also. Nobody will touch us.
Nobody.
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 They'll refer us out, and then the people they refer us out to, nope, sorry, can't help you.
It's bad, brothers. I'm telling you. You would not believe how bad it is here in Edmond because we, the people, have no input into our city government.
That's pretty bad.
Well, yeah, okay. You know, they started out, we had 5 minutes to speak with city council, and then they had new businesses on the agenda. They cut our they cut our time down to 3 minutes. They took away our ability to use the AV equipment. And then when we tried to utilize the new business to be able to speak where you can actually communicate back and forth, he gavelled and ended the meeting. The next time we came in, we tried it again. They wouldn't let us use it. The third time we came back, it was no longer even on the agenda.
They took it off the agenda.
It was replaced with council comment. That's what replaced it.
It's a mess. It's a hot mess is what this is.
Sounds like it. I will tell you this, and Bob can testify to this. I am one documenting fool. I will write very seldom. If me and you talk and you tell me something that I think is important, I'll turn around and write you an email and go, hey, I'm not so sharp. Did I really understand you to say this? Is this what you're understanding? What you need to do is engage them to say, you know, hey, I was only, you removed this from the agenda. You removed that from the agenda. You removed this from the agenda. Why am I not being able to speak on the agenda?
We've done all
we
that,
had
brother.
right there in citizens' comments that when it would happen, the next time we go back the next meeting, these are broadcast live. And we would ask them point blank. And you know how it is. They just stare at you.
They ignore you.
You try, we send them an email, and you know what their response to us would be? I have received your message.
That's all we get. Now, here's the thing. In their own documents, we have the document. It says the number one rule of good governance. Here it is. The number one rule is that people have a right to know what their government is doing. That's the number one rule. That's transparency.
Right.
They refuse us.
That's
There
their
is
rules.
no transparency in our government.
And that's their rule.
That's their rule.
Well, I understand how you this is all over. I mean, if you're a representative, you think we get to look at the entire, last year when we were doing the budget, I actually got up on the floor and said this to our leaders, made them really mad. I had them shut down using their own rules. But one of the things they come back and said, well, can we ask you a question? And they said, well, if we go home right now, because I had it fixed where we could just kill the whole deal and go home. And so they said, would you be all right with not giving money to this orphanage or something? I said, listen, anybody in here is smart enough to know that if we go home, they just get last year's budget. So don't be playing like you're going to pull all their money. But I said, I've talked to 40 Republicans on this floor, and not one of those 40 said that they knew what was in the budget or that they felt like they had anything input into that budget. Now, that's 40 legislators, Republicans. When we're run by Republicans, I mean, that's over half the Republicans said they didn't have one ounce of input. So, yeah, I get it. And they were claiming last year, that's why I was laughing so hard. Oh, it's transparency. They've already started this year about transparent. And quite often when they're saying that, that means no transparency. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. That's exactly right.
How great they are. You just go, okay, let's see. But this year I'm going to try to shine a little light on the subject. Try to get in there and get a little light on the whole deal before we get into it. Well, Bob, what do you think on Edmond? What we got to wrap it up.
I was just wondering who their representatives are in Edmond.
Talk about yours.
District 81, what's his name right there? He lives 2 blocks from me. He's not one of us. I have never received anything from my elected representative. Not a thing. I'm doing this and I'm going to do this. I've never received anything from him.
What's his name?
I'm trying to remember it. It's Osborne.
Mike Osborne.
Mike Osborne.
Yep. He has never contacted me, and he's never been to a city council meeting. He shows up at the big events where the city's there and the mayor's there, but he's never attended a council meeting to see what's going on. And he's never contacted me to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this. Never. I've never heard a word from him. And he lives a block and a half from me. Somebody needs to get a run against him, that's for sure, and get a real conservative Republican in that job.
Well, who's your senator up there?
I'm not sure who that is.
I'm
I'm not sure. Well, he's a representative. I'm not sure who that senator is. I'm sorry, brother, because they never have contacted me.
Is it Eric Harris? I think it's Eric Harris.
I don't know. But
he's who mine was.
Who's the one?
Eric Harris is a representative.
Okay, but I don't know who the senator is.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's never contacted me or anybody here. Has he ever showed up at the Republican Party thing and talked about what he's doing? I don't think he's done that. See, these guys have got to get out and tell us what the hell they're doing. They sit in their office and they don't tell the people what the hell they're doing, so we don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, I try to go to a bunch of my Republican meetings in both, in all 4 counties, to tell you the truth, but especially in my 2 big counties, Choctaw and Push. I try to attend them pretty regularly, and then I'll try to go to Durant every once in a while. I don't have the actual city of Durant, and most of my county don't show up. Just, you know what I'm saying? So Durant's a little different.
Well, our other one, our congressional, Stephanie Bice, has not contacted us. We helped get her elected. My group, we stood on corners of flags and we helped her get. I have not heard one thing that she's done and anything. We tried to contact her, can't get a hold of her.
Yeah.
This gal hasn't done anything that I know about. Have you ever seen her on TV? We need another green lady from Georgia. Is who we need. We need somebody who'll get up there and fight for us. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie. I gotta relate to Marjorie. I will tell you, I relate really well with Marjorie. You know?
Yes,
I like it.
We love Marjorie Taylor. She fights. She asks the questions.
I will tell you this: our representative, King. So,
oh yeah,
hey, he gets out. I mean, about every time he's in, he does town halls just all over the place. And
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, he fixed them where you can get on them Zoom. So yeah, I mean, if you want to see what he's doing, Josh. In fact, Josh actually taught me into running. He's one of the few people taught me in running. But I always laugh. People think that and I would say I'm pretty conservative. But now Josh is so far right of me. I had to look at him there because that boy is way.
But a lot of people who are elected officials don't want to get involved in the city business because they're that's the city's deal, and they're not going to get involved in it.
Well, in Edmond, we have never had, in the 4 years, we have never had an open public town hall because they will not allow a town hall in Edmond because they say we can't because of the Open Meetings Act.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they say. Open Meetings Act says we can't do a town hall because it's not on the agenda, so therefore we can't do a town hall.
Wait sometime right around there to the end of May, early June, mid-June, and have you an ice cream social and invite them to come out and speak, and then go, hey, what do you, and hold them accountable. That's what I would do. Is arrange. I'd get with 2 or 3 big groups and set it up and go, you're gonna come, or else we're gonna let everybody know you don't care about this community.
Well, the thing is, they're going to tell you like they did to us. We will not do any kind of get-togethers unless it's on the agenda. So it's got to be we're in violation of the Open Meetings Act. That's what they tell us. So we have never had an open town hall in Edmond, Oklahoma in 4 years.
Get a church or a 501(c) and have an event, and they can't say a word.
Well, that's good to know. But try to get a church to do it. The churches,
Right.
churches
Churches
won't,
churches
churches
won't
don't want
touch
to
us
touch this
either.
politics thing. Churches won't touch it, brother.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, they ain't read their Bible. Guess what? Moses
That's
led
right.
the people. That was a leader. If you look at God appointed the first king, and he used the church man to go anoint him and pick him out.
Yep.
He wouldn't do what he's supposed to. He used the church man at risk of his life to go anoint David. They didn't read the
Mhm.
Bible a little bit. Lots of politics in the Bible. The
That's
whole
right.
Bible's politics. So
Yep.
I don't think.
let me get on with preaching.
I don't think the DEI woke guys go to church. Okay, brother, that's what I'm thinking because they are definitely not doing it here in Edmond, Oklahoma. Nobody speaks up for the people.
They go to the woke church. Woke
Yeah.
church.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Woke church. Nah,
They're all
Well,
worried.
you don't have to have them promote your event. You can put an event on yourself, and you can invite them. If they don't come, they don't come. But you can invite them. That has nothing to do with open record.
Yeah.
Open meeting request. That has nothing to do with it. They didn't have to be on the agenda for them to show up to some event.
Let me tell you what they
They're gonna
said.
ask you though, what are you going to talk about? Because if you talk about politics, they're not going to be there. They won't come.
Well, if they don't show up, they don't show up. You can't force them to show up.
But you
if
find, hey, you can rent a convention hall or community center and have your own event. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's all kinds of ways around that.
I got to tell them. Let me tell you what they said. They told us that the city attorney told them that if two of them go and they discuss anything about city politics, that they can be thrown in jail.
Yep.
So they will not come. They said we cannot do it. We have been advised that if two or more are together and we discuss anything that has to do with the city, that we are going to be thrown in jail. Therefore, we cannot.
That's not a board meeting. They're not discussing business.
Right, but they said it doesn't matter.
Well, he's just using that on you to think something to do it.
Yeah, yes.
It's not exactly right.
Well, Bob, we're going to have to close her down. Ranger, we thank you for getting on here. Connie, I appreciate
you guys.
And it's always great to talk about what's going on in politics and in our local politics. And win, lose, or draw, you're doing the right thing by calling all this out and stepping up and making people answer to the issues that are out there. You're bringing the issues forward. So we appreciate it. As always, we really do thank you for your service and for for what you laid on the line there. That's very respectable and honorable. And so we appreciate you very much. You're the kind of person that makes America great. So
thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Bob,
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow, Bob.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.